Friday, Palm Week. Saint Justin the Martyr. Scripture reading for the day. Genesis chapter 49, verse 33 to 50. Chapter 49, verse 33. Chapter 50, verse 26. Meditation. The book of Genesis ends with the death of Jacob and his sons Joseph. When Jacob dies, his sons, including Joseph, weep over him, following Jacob's wishes. They carry him to the land of Canaan for burial. Later in the same chapter, Joseph dies and is buried in Egypt. It seems strange to me that the church would prescribe a reading dealing with two deaths for the last day of Lent. A reading proclaiming the joys of accomplishing the 40 days seems much more appropriate, but the wisdom of the church is evident. Tomorrow is Lazarus Saturday, and church will weep over the death of his friend, then raise him from the tomb. Soon Jesus will enter Jerusalem, be crucified, died, and resurrect. The church asked us to ponder the connection between this last day of Lent and the victories of Christ at Lazarus' tomb and at his own. The death of the righteous Jacob and Joseph remind me that death will touch us all. Yet, as a believer, I know that St. Paul is right when he writes, "We grieve, but not like those who have no hope." 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 13. Our hope and conviction are that Christ has transformed death into a way to the kingdom of his Father. His resurrection has swallowed up death and made it impotent. His victory has been bequeathed to us. In being faithful to him, which Lent has taught me to do, I will be with Jacob and Joseph in his everlasting kingdom. Praise him. Wisdom of the Fathers. It is impossible for our work to be done properly unless it is carried out in obedience to the will of Him who has prescribed it. By taking care to do our work as God wills, we shall be linked to God and memory. The smith, in making an axe, considered the person who set a vest fast, having them in his thoughts at all times, so he can plan the right shape and size by directing his work according to the wishes of the one who commissioned it. For if does not keep his patron in mind, he will produce something other than or different from what he set out to make. In the same way, Christians, directing all their energies, small and great, to the fulfilling of God's will, at one and the same time, accomplish the work carefully and preserve the intention of him who gave the order and fulfill what was said. I have seen the Lord before me at all times, for he is on my right hand, lest I be shaken. And they do what they have been commanded, whether you eat or drink, or whether you do all to the glory of God. Saint Basil the Great. Hymn from today's Vespers. We have completed the 40 days which profit our souls. Let us sing, rejoice, let us sing. Rejoice, Mary and Martha, tomorrow Christ will come and raise your dead brother to life. Blessed is he that comes in the name of the Lord, the King of Israel. Life of Saint Justin the Martyr. Justin, who lived in the 2nd century, is considered the first great Christian apologist or defender of the faith in speeches and treatise. A well-educated philosopher, Justin was drawn toward Christianity when he witnessed its faithful face death. Later, he studied scripture and learned about the faith and discussion with believers. He was about 30 years old when he became a Christian. Until this time, the outside world knew little about the belief and practices of Christ followers. The early Christians, many of them uneducated people, followed misrepresentation of their faith. If that protected if that protected it from profanation. But Justin believed that many others would gladly accept Christianity if it were properly explained to them. He said it was a Christian's duty to make known his faith. Justin discussed the Christian faith openly and described what took place at secret meetings. He was arrested after a public argument with a Roman cynic. After a bold confession and refusal to sacrifice to the gods, Justin was beheaded in 165. Two of his apologies and his dialogue with the Jew Trypho have survived intact. They include descriptions of the rite of baptism and Sunday worship, including the Eucharistic service and the distribution of alms. His writings are a valuable historic source on early Christianity. Lord, help me to proclaim clearly and accurately my faith in you, relying on you to help me find the appropriate words. Okay, Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen.